What up? Welcome to National Pleasure, your Nic Cage headquarters. Welcome to the place where we learn about the world around us through the wondrous eyes and mind of Nicolas Cage. I'm Doug Mellard. Let's talk about the time Nicolas Cage was stalked by a mime, which is a real thing that happened. Let's go, we're here for it. Yes, Nicolas Cage was stalked by a mime. Now, this falls into the category, some Nic Cage legends out there have very little to almost no information about it. This is somewhere in the medium category. Like, it's not a lot of info, but we got some info. Some of it straight from him. When asked about it, Cage said, "I guess it would fall into the stalker category, more or less. I was being stalked by a mime. Silent, but maybe deadly." Now, I think that last part was a little tongue-in-cheek. He was working with Martin Scorsese at the time, and the mime kept turning up to send shivers down the actor's spine. Somehow, this mime would appear on the set of Bringing Out the Dead and start doing strange things, Cage continued. "I have no idea how it got past security." Now, I love the idea of mimes miming their way past security. That's amazing. They pretended to be like trapped in a box or something until the security guards looked away thinking they were harmless, and then bam! Ran right by him onto the set. Cage said the producers finally took some action, and he hadn't seen the mime since. But it was definitely unsettling. Good for him, the mimes are gone. But if mimes stalked me like that, I would have that following me to the end of my days. It would be unsettling forever. I mean, how crazy it would be if they showed up decades later to scare Nic Cage. Like Nic Cage wakes up in the middle of the night feeling a presence and looks up and through the darkness sees the reflection of the moonlight bouncing off the white face paint of a mime that has been watching him sleep. Or even stranger, shows up at Cage's deathbed. Oh, I'm getting scared for him even just saying this. I apologize, Nick. I should not put this out there. It's bad juju. On Jimmy Kimmel, he said there were actually two mimes. So double the mime nightmare. Mime-mare? I don't know. In the film, Cage descends into madness while struggling with the weight of being a paramedic. Some say it was one of his finest works, and at one point Cage himself said that it might be the best movie he ever made. Wow, that's a lot coming from him. Some fans theorized the director was behind it all in an attempt to get Cage in the disturbed mindset of the character. Can you imagine doing your job while your boss hired mimes to follow you around? Can you imagine doing anything while mimes followed you around? If there was any evidence to this, it seems like he could have sued. I mean, come on. I would be absolutely worthless. But not Nic Cage. He nailed the performance. He went above and beyond as he always does. So yeah, again, some think that Scorsese was actually doing this to perhaps enhance his performance, get him in the mindset. Does Nic Cage really need that? He's already in the mindset. He finds his character. He nails it every time. Come on, Scorsese. Unnecessary. So this is what we know about all this. These are the details woven into the Cage lore. This one is as bizarre and uniquely as any Cage story gets, really. I used to think I had strange luck, but I don't have a story that could touch this. I wonder how long it took him to shake that off, again, I wouldn't be able to shake it off, perhaps ever. After filming, was he worried mimes would just pop up out of nowhere at any given point? Seems like this could have had him descending into madness in real life, not just on screen. You have to be strong-willed to come out okay on the other side of such a thing. Knowing he had this going on should make you appreciate his performance even more so. Might be time for a rewatch with this in mind, This just gives it layers to the film. Picturing these mimes just right there as soon as the director yells cut? I mean, come on. Now that Nicolas Cage has brought us to the subject of mimes, let's take a look at the world of mimes, even though they kind of freak me out. The performance of mime originates in ancient Greece. The word comes from the performer pantomimus. The first recorded mime was Telestes in the play Seven Against the Thebes. Tragic mime was developed by Pylades, sorry, I'm going to butcher some of these names, of Cilicia, and comic mime was developed by Bathylos of Alexandria. Someone creating tragic mime just seems to say all we need to know about this guy. Why did he feel the need to do that? Why did he bring this into this world? Under the Empire, mime became the predominant Roman drama, although different emperors had different takes on it. Trajan banished mime artists. A hero in my book, really. Some favored it, and Nero even acted as a mime. Wow, a leader that acted as a mime. The mime was distinguished from other dramas by its absence of masks and by the presence of female performers. Stock characters included the lead, the stooge, and the gigolo. Can't have anything without the gigolo. Some famous mimes include Rowan Atkinson, aka Mr. Bean, the Blue Man Group, Charlie Chaplin, Doug Jones, Buster Keaton, and Dick Van Dyke, amongst others, although many believe Marcel Marceau to be the most famous mime. He was known as the Master of Silence for his ability to move audiences without speaking. His character, Bip, was a clown with a sad face and striped shirt that became a global icon. It's crazy to be a mime and have a character named Bip that reaches global icon status. That is unbelievable. Way to go, Marcel Marceau. Now, mimes, I feel like, to some degree, can be slid into the category of clowns, which, terrify a lot of people. Now, I don't love mimes or clowns, but I don't necessarily have an actual fear of mimes. But if one was stalking me, I would definitely be terrified. My wife, however, is 100% horrified of statue people, aka living statues, which are a form of mime. You know, the people painted silver or gold that pretend to be statues in the park or whatever, and will just kind of freeze, but might suddenly move to startle you as soon as you walk by. Yeah, those weirdos. I don't love them. Not fun to look at, but absolutely mesmerizing in a weird, horrific way. They don't have to even move to startle my wife. I lived in Los Angeles for a bit, and at one point my wife and I were walking through Hollywood, where there's a lot of like Transformers and Marvel characters and Batman, and they have living statues wandering around entertaining people. And my wife and I were walking hand in hand, cruising through Hollywood, and one second she's there, the next second she is gone. She saw a living statue apparently and full on sprinted down Hollywood Boulevard. It was crazy. I didn't even know what was happening. Took me a minute to put it all together, and then of course kind of started laughing. But that's neither here nor there. Well, thanks for letting me talk about the world of mimes, and thank you to Nicolas Cage for bringing us there. Now it's time for Nic Cage in the news. Guys, big news. Lord of War, a great Nicolas Cage film, is getting a sequel all these years later. That's big, guys. That's right, we've got a Lord of War sequel coming 20 years later. They are set to start production in 2025. So look for this, and you know what? This leads me to, there's again no Face Off 2 update for this particular video, but Lord of War 2 gets me excited that potentially maybe Face Off 2 will get a little further along. And if we can make Lord of War 2 happen, we can make Face Off 2 happen, guys. Let's put good thoughts out there, okay? And now it's time for my favorite segment. What is Nic Cage doing right now? I believe Cage is building the world's largest birdhouse modeled after the Palace of Versailles, where any bird that takes residence must wear a powdered wig and have weekly tea parties led by Nicolas Cage himself. That's what I think he's doing right now. What do you guys think? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, pass it along to a friend. I can't wait to see where Nicolas Cage takes us next.